Hey Sagittarius, I just pulled cards for your career energy and honestly, what came through is making so much sense right now. If you have been feeling like your professional life is just stuck in this weird limbo where nothing is really moving forward but nothing is completely falling apart either, the cards have some really specific messages for you about what is actually happening energetically and what spirit wants you to understand about this phase. So, I'm sitting here with my deck and the first card that came out is the Moon, and I have to tell you, this card appearing first is telling me so much about why your career feels the way it does right now. The Moon is all about illusion, confusion, and not being able to see the full picture clearly. In your career context, this is showing me that you have been operating in a fog. You cannot see where you are really going, you cannot trust what people are telling you, and honestly you might even be deceiving yourself about certain aspects of your work situation. This is not about you being dishonest, it is about you not having clarity. Maybe you have been telling yourself that everything is fine when deep down you know something feels off. Or maybe you have been so afraid to look at the reality of your situation that you have just been avoiding it altogether. The Moon energy in career readings often shows up when we are working in environments where there is a lot of hidden information, office politics, or unclear expectations. Spirit is saying that the stuckness you feel is partly because you cannot make clear decisions when you cannot see clearly. You are trying to navigate your professional path in the dark, and that is exhausting. The Moon is also connected to intuition though, and there is a message here about trusting your gut feelings about your work situation even when the logical mind cannot piece everything together. Yet, the next card I pulled is the Star, and this is actually really beautiful because the Star comes right after the Tower in the traditional tarot sequence, which means it represents hope and healing after a period of destruction or upheaval. What I am getting from the Star in your reading is that Spirit wants you to know that even though things feel stuck right now, you are actually in a period of recovery and restoration. Maybe your career energy feels stuck because you are healing from something that happened before. Whether that was a job loss, a toxic work environment, a failure, or just burnout from pushing too hard for too long. The Star is telling you that this stuckness is not permanent, it is medicinal. You are supposed to be in this slower phase right now because your spirit and your energy need time to replenish. The Star is also about reconnecting with your sense of purpose and your dreams for the future. I think Spirit is showing me that part of why your career feels stuck is because you have lost touch with what you actually want. You might be going through the motions at work but your heart is not in it anymore, and the Star is inviting you to take this time to get clear on what kind of work would actually light you up. This card is also about inspiration and creativity, so there might be creative solutions or unconventional paths opening up for you that you have not considered. Yet because you have been too focused on what feels safe or expected. Now, here is where things get interesting because the third card is Seven of Swords, and I have to be honest with you. This card is making me think there is some element of strategy or maybe even deception happening in your career situation. Seven of Swords traditionally shows someone sneaking away with swords, and in a career reading this can mean a few different things. It could be that someone at your workplace is not being completely honest with you, maybe withholding information or working behind the scenes in ways that affect your position. But it could also be about you, and I do not mean that in a judgmental way at all. Sometimes Seven of Swords appears when we are being strategic about our next moves, when we are planning an exit or a transition but we are not ready to show our hand yet. Maybe you have been thinking about leaving your current situation or starting something on the side, but you are keeping it quiet for now. The stuck energy might actually be you holding back, not fully committing to where you are because part of you knows you are planning to move on. Spirit is acknowledging that there is this element of strategy and careful planning happening, and that can create a feeling of stuckness because you are in this in-between space. You are not fully present where you are, but you are not quite ready to make your move yet either. There is also a message here about being smart and strategic rather than impulsive. If you have been feeling pressure to make big career changes quickly, Seven of Swords is saying to take your time and plan carefully. The fourth card that came through is Seven of Pentacles, and oh my goodness, this card is so perfect for what you are experiencing. Seven of Pentacles is literally the card of waiting for your harvest, of pausing to assess your progress and wondering if your efforts are going to pay off. This is someone who has been working hard, who has planted seeds and tended to them, but now they are in that uncomfortable phase of waiting to see results. Does this resonate with you? Have you been putting in effort at work, maybe working on a project or building skills or networking, but you are not seeing the tangible results yet? This card is telling me that the stuck feeling is actually a waiting period. And Spirit wants you to know that just because you cannot see the fruits of your labor yet does not mean they are not growing. Seven of Pentacles is about patience and long-term thinking. Your career situation might feel stuck because you are being called to trust the process and give things more time to develop. However, this card also has another message, which is about reassessment. The figure in the card is pausing to look at what they have grown and evaluate whether this is really what they want or whether they need to change their approach. Spirit might be asking you to honestly assess whether the career path you are on is actually leading where you want to go. If you have been investing time and energy into something that is not truly aligned with your goals, this stuck feeling might be Spirit's way of making you pause and reconsider before you invest even more. The fifth card is Eight of Pentacles, and this is fascinating because Eight of Pentacles is about mastery, skill development, and dedicated work. This is the apprentice card, someone who is focused on perfecting their craft. In the context of your stuck career energy, I think Spirit is showing me that part of what is happening right now is that you are in a learning and development phase. Maybe the reason things feel stuck is because you are being called to go deeper into your skills, to really master something before you can move to the next level. This stuck period might actually be preparation time. Think about it like this: before a rocket can launch, there is this period where it looks like nothing is happening. But actually all these systems are being checked and fuel is being loaded and everything is getting ready for liftoff. That might be what is happening with your career right now. You are in the preparation phase, building skills and knowledge that you are going to need for what is coming next. Eight of Pentacles is also about taking pride in quality work and being detail-oriented. There might be a message here about focusing on doing excellent work where you are right now, even if you are not sure where it is leading. The energy you put into mastering your craft is never wasted. However, I also want to mention that Eight of Pentacles can sometimes indicate being so focused on the details of your work that you lose sight of the bigger picture. So Spirit might be gently nudging you to occasionally lift your head up from the workbench and check in with your larger goals and vision. Card number 6 is Six of Cups, and this card is bringing in such interesting energy because Six of Cups is traditionally about nostalgia, childhood, innocence, and sometimes reunion with people from the past. In a career reading, this can show up in several ways. It might literally be about reconnecting with an old colleague, mentor, or contact from earlier in your career who could help you move forward now. Sometimes the stuck energy releases when we reach back to our network and resources we had forgotten about. But Six of Cups can also be about revisiting an old dream or passion. Maybe when you were younger you had certain career aspiration or creative interests, and life took you in a different direction, but now Spirit is bringing that back to your attention. The stuck feeling might be because your current career path does not align with that original passion or calling. And Six of Cups is inviting you to reconsider what you actually wanted before you started making choices based on practicality or other people's expectations. There is also energy here about approaching your work with more playfulness and joy. If your career feels stuck and heavy, Six of Cups is suggesting that you need to reconnect with what made work feel fun and exciting for you in the first place. Maybe you need to bring more creativity into your current role, or maybe you need to remember that work does not always have to feel like grinding struggle. This card has such gentle, sweet energy, and I think Spirit is reminding you that your career should nourish your inner child, not deplete it. The seventh card is King of Swords, and this is a powerful energy coming through because King of Swords represents clarity, truth, logical thinking, and authoritative communication. After all those earlier cards about confusion and waiting, King of Swords is showing me that Spirit wants you to cut through the fog and get really clear and honest about your career situation. This king is about using your intellect and your ability to see truth clearly. He does not get caught up in emotions or wishful thinking. He looks at facts and makes decisions accordingly. I think the message here is that your career energy is stuck partly because you have been avoiding some hard truths or difficult decisions. Maybe you know deep down that you need to have a tough conversation with your boss. or you need to admit that your current job is not right for you, or you need to set better boundaries, but you have been avoiding it because it feels uncomfortable. King of Swords is telling you that clarity and honest assessment are going to be what moves you forward. This card is also about strategy and planning with a clear head. If you have been making career decisions based on fear or emotion, Spirit is asking you to step into that King of Swords energy and think strategically about what actually makes sense for your professional growth. This king can also represent a mentor or authority figure who might be able to give you clear guidance, so staying open to advice from someone with more experience could be helpful right now. The stuckness starts to release when you get brutally honest with yourself about what is working and what is not. Card 8 is Two of Swords, and I have to say, this card is really driving home the message about why your career feels stuck. Two of Swords is the card of being at a crossroads, of having to make a choice but feeling blocked or unable to decide. The traditional image shows someone blindfolded, holding two swords crossed over their heart, and the energy is all about indecision, avoidance, and stalemate. This is telling me that a major reason your career energy is stuck is because there is a decision you need to make and you have been avoiding making it. Maybe you are trying to choose between staying in your current job or leaving, between two different career paths, between playing it safe or taking a risk. And instead of choosing, you have just been frozen in place hoping that somehow the decision will make itself or the universe will send you a clear sign. But Two of Swords is showing me that the universe's sign is this stuck feeling. You are meant to feel uncomfortable in this place of indecision because that discomfort is supposed to motivate you to finally make a choice and move forward. Spirit wants you to know that staying in limbo is actually more painful than making the wrong choice would be, because at least if you choose something you are taking action and learning and growing. The blindfold in the Two of Swords suggests that you might be intentionally blocking yourself from seeing the truth of your situation because the truth requires you to take action that feels scary. What decision have you been avoiding? The stuck energy will not move until you remove the blindfold, look at your options clearly, and make a choice even if you are not completely certain it is the right one. The 9th card is Nine of Swords, and when this card appears, I always feel such compassion for whoever I am reading for, because Nine of Swords is about anxiety, worry, sleepless nights, and mental anguish. In your career reading, this is showing me that the stuck energy is not just frustrating, it is actually causing you significant stress and worry. Maybe you have been lying awake at night thinking about your job situation, running through worst-case scenarios in your mind, worrying about money or security or whether you are making the right choices. Nine of Swords often appears when the mental suffering is actually worse than the reality of the situation, when we are torturing ourselves with anxious thoughts that may or may not even come true. Spirit is acknowledging that this career stuckness has taken a toll on your mental health and peace of mind, and there is deep compassion here for what you have been going through. But the message of Nine of Swords is also that a lot of this suffering is happening in your mind. The swords in this card are not actually stabbing the person, they are hanging on the wall behind them, which means the danger is more perceived than real. You might be creating worst-case scenarios about what will happen if you stay in your job or what will happen if you leave, but those scenarios are just stories your anxious mind is telling you. Spirit wants you to know that you have more power and more options than your anxiety is letting you believe. This card is also a call to address your mental health and find ways to quiet the worried mind. Whether that is through therapy, meditation, talking to trusted friends, or other practices that help you get out of the spiral of anxious thinking. Your career energy will start to flow more freely when you are not operating from a place of fear and worst-case thinking. The final card I pulled is Ace of Cups, and I have to tell you, this card appearing at the end of your reading feels like such a gift because Ace of Cups is about new emotional beginnings, love, fulfillment, and overflowing blessings. After all those cards about stuckness and confusion and anxiety, Ace of Cups is Spirit's promise that there is something beautiful waiting for you on the other side of this stuck period. This card in a career context suggests that you are being called toward work that actually fulfills you emotionally and spiritually, not just financially. Maybe the reason your current career situation feels so stuck is because it is not feeding your soul. Ace of Cups is showing me that Spirit wants you to move toward work that makes your heart feel full, that aligns with your values, that allows you to express love and creativity and compassion. This might mean a completely different career path, or it might mean finding ways to bring more heart and meaning into the work you are already doing. There is also energy here about new opportunities coming in that are aligned with your emotional and spiritual growth. The Cups suit is connected to water and flow, and after all this stuckness, Ace of Cups is saying that flow is returning. But here is the thing, you have to be open to receiving it. If you are so closed off and defended because of all the stress and disappointment, you might miss the new beginning that is trying to come through. Ace of Cups is an invitation to open your heart again to the possibility that your career can be a source of joy and fulfillment, not just something you have to endure. So Sagittarius, when I look at all these cards together, here is what Spirit really wants you to know about your stuck career energy. First, a lot of the stuckness is about lack of clarity. You cannot move forward confidently when you cannot see clearly where you are going or what you really want. The Moon and Two of Swords are both saying that you need to work on getting clearer vision. Whether that is through meditation, journaling, talking things through with someone you trust, or just being really honest with yourself about what you know in your gut. Second, there is a decision or a truth you have been avoiding, and that avoidance is keeping you stuck. King of Swords and Two of Swords are both pointing to the need for honest assessment and decision-making. What have you been afraid to look at or admit? What choice have you been putting off? The energy starts to move when you face what needs to be faced. Third, this stuck period actually has purpose. Seven of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles, and the Star are all suggesting that you are in a phase of preparation, skill building, and healing. Just because nothing dramatic is happening externally does not mean nothing is happening. You are growing and learning and getting ready for what is next, even if it does not feel that way. Trust the process and use this time wisely instead of just resenting it. Fourth, there is some strategic planning or behind-the-scenes work happening, shown by Seven of Swords. Maybe you are not stuck at all. Maybe you are actually very smart about not showing your hand yet while you figure out your next moves. That is okay and actually quite wise. And finally, Ace of Cups is promising that when you do move through this stuck period, what is waiting for you is work that truly fulfills your heart and soul. The stuckness is not permanent, and it is not punishment. It is a transitional phase that is preparing you for something better. If you are resonating with this reading, I would love to know which cards spoke to you most strongly. And if you are a Sagittarius dealing with career confusion right now, just know that Spirit sees you, and this stuck feeling is not going to last forever. You are being prepared for something that is going to feel so much more aligned and fulfilling. Trust yourself and trust the timing of your life.